So I grew up being the best friend of the girls. Like I was always like, I just hung out with girls. And like from the age of 10, when all the boys were roughhousing outside and all the girls were inside dancing on the dance floor, I was like, that's where I want to be.
Wow.
And so
what caused you to become so emotional as a young person? Who taught you that?
My mom.
Joe and I work together a lot, and Joe and I, it's art, and art is, by the very sense of the word, emotional. There's emotions in art. Our job as artists is to have access to what we feel, right? And Joe can have a feeling that creates an emotion in him, and he can express that emotion. And I know that it's my job as his partner, as working with Joe, to go, all right, that's how my friend feels. He's expressing his emotion. But also, I know that I can't let that experience affect me to where I become irrational. Yeah. So there's space for emotion.
So do you tell Joe to cut it out?
Not in those words.
Like, cut out all that mess.
No,
act like a man.
Well, we've learned how to accept that we're both
man up.
We're both.
Welcome to Culture War, guys. In this video, Jesse is going to be taking on two extreme beta males. It's incredible. If you get to listen to this, guys, you will be appalled. Guys, you're going to enjoy this video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Today I'm joined by some accomplished entertainers. I have with me Joe Hernandez Kolsky. He is an Emmy Award-winning and two-time HBO Deaf Poet.
Yep.
Thank you for coming, man.
My pleasure.
Wow, this is going to be fun, I can tell already. Also have with me Joshua Silverstein. Silverstein. We went back and forth in the office about this.
That's great.
Joshua Silverstein, an accomplished actor and comic who can be seen weekly on Drop the Mic on TBS. How did you get into entertainment? You walking down the road and one day you decided?
I started acting as a child in professional theater in Chicago, like when I was like 11 or 12 years old, and really just immediately fell in love with it and went to Princeton University and thought, I need to focus now on my grades, and then was like, oh, look, that's an audition notice. And before I knew it, I continued with theater, and it's just has always been the thing that I've done. I tried getting in my family. I have a strong political background from my family. So I worked briefly at the White House in college doing speech writing. And I just realized that that really wasn't a medium for social change that I thought, I didn't think it was the best use of what I could do. And it didn't make me the happiest. Like, I love entertaining. I love making people laugh, and I love working with this guy and really just trying to push boundaries.
Joshua, how did you get into entertainment?
My parents both being activists, I was around a lot of art that was socially engaging, and found my roots in theater through various theater programs and workshops growing up in LA. I went to Hamilton High School, which is a very big theater program. And went to an art school for college, and jumped into the spoken word community as I was in college. Found my roots there, met Joe, and I think it kind of was a bit of a snowball effect of me just being in it all the time. You know, I grew up at the Agape International Spiritual Center, which also was home to lots and lots of entertainers and actors and singers and songwriters. So I was always around art growing up.
And so let me ask, are you Catholic? Are you a Christian?
Dude, I'm hyper Catholic because I'm Polish and Mexican, which makes me like super Catholic.
How about you? You're Jewish?
I'm Jewish, but not practicing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So could you be a Christian?
I couldn't be. I'm more of an agnostic person than a specific.
And why is that?
Religion. Why am I agnostic?
Yes.
I don't know. That kind of works for me. I feel like I grew up very spiritual, and you know, and believing in God and meditating and praying. And I think that where I've landed as what feels the most authentic for me as far as my belief systems feels like I'm in control of my life, and
instead of God,
instead of any exterior entity that is, you know, pulling the strings.
And
I feel like
agnostic mean that you believe there is a God, you just don't believe in him.
I believe that maybe there's something, but I also don't know. So agnostic for me means for right now, I am responsible for my own life, but maybe I'm wrong.
And what is a man?
What is a man? That's quite a...
Well, I think what is it, the X chromosome?
Other than the physical parts of a man, what is a man?
I don't think there is one single definition. I think there are 4.5 billion different men in this country, and they all have their own definition. It's a pretty amazing thing. Like in the poetry world, there's this one poet who, when you start drinking the haterade, I was reading her bio once, and it said, she sees the world through a different pair of eyes. And I'm like, we all do.
Yeah.
Like, so in the end, describing what being a man is in masculinity, I can tell you what my definition is.
Yeah,
my definition.
What is a man, and are you a man?
Absolutely.
You are a man, so what is a man,
so
in your opinion?
My definition is I grew up in a space attempting to always achieve balance between what is defined in larger terms as the feminine and the masculine. I was raised in a house where you were not afraid you were never afraid of your emotions, but I was also raised to be very chivalrous and be protective. And you protect a woman not because she's weak, but because she's important. So I've always had that in my life. So I grew up being the best friend of the girls. Like I was always like, I just hung out with girls. And like from the age of 10, when all the boys were roughhousing outside and all the girls were inside dancing on the dance floor, I was like, that's where I want to be.
Wow.
And so, I grew up.
Amazing.
Well, what?
Amazing.
I mean, that's just...
So do you identify more with the female rather than the male?
Well, it's interesting. I think I've gone through phases in my life where I was the one boy in the dance class, I was the one boy in the yoga class, and as somebody who is preparing to be someone's husband and someone's father, I gravitated to boxing as a form of expression for me,
right,
because I felt balanced out who I am. I feel different.
What caused you to become so emotional as a young person?
I think we are all emotional, and I think some of us are just taught not to embrace it, and I think that's dangerous, and I think it comes out in unhealthy ways then. So I was always taught that it's never wrong to cry. And
Who taught you that?
My mom and my dad, yeah.
Did your father know that your mother was teaching you to be emotional and play with
Sure.
and dance with the girls?
Yeah, everything that I became, these were choices that they made together.
Why did he allow her to teach you that?
Because he came from an unemotional family, and it wasn't healthy for him.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I grew up, my grandparents were alcoholics and did not know how to express their emotions, and because of that, I think I think there was some growth that did not occur.
So are you married?
No.
And have you dated?
Yeah.
So when you date women, do they resent you for being like them, emotional like a woman?
No, because I don't think I'm emotional like a woman. I think I'm emotional like a man. I'm emotional like I am.
But real men are not emotional.
Yeah, that's where I think we're going to disagree.
Why?
Because first of all, the definition of what is a real man, we're real by the fact that we exist. There is no definition of what it means to be real. And I think there are different definitions for every single person.
But if you are emotional and your girlfriend is emotional, when she is emotional, how do you help her? If you're feeling
I think there's a balance that occurs.
She's feeling.
I think there's a balance that occurs. I think we can become the rock when the person needs that, and
But
vice
how,
versa.
if you're emotional, you can't be a rock?
I think what your definition of emotional is maybe different than mine.
What's yours?
Mine means like being connected to what affects you and not being afraid of that. So I don't run away from that, but at the same time, when I need to be the rock, I'll be that.
One last thing about that. So when you were growing up, the boys would be outside playing, the girls would be inside dancing.
Yeah, I had all the 13-year-old girls on lock.
And that was something.
I was 10 years old. I had no idea what to do with them, but
and there was something within you that said, "Hey, I'd rather be dancing with the girls than playing outside."
yeah, because the girls loved to dance with Joey Kolsky, because I would do my little footloose dance move, and they just
They go
fell in love with
crazy.
me.
You still dance?
Oh God, yeah.
Let me see you cut loose.
I'm not gonna cut loose right now.
Joshua,
Yeah.
other than the physical part of the male, what is a man?
Well, I mean, look, Gender's a construct, right? Gender is a construct that was created to create power, right? And we have bought into the construct because it makes a lot of men feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I think part of the issue with what is a man is you create this rigid definition and then you push away anybody that doesn't fit into that construct. So for me, as a father, as a man in a relationship, I think what a man is to be human. And I think that what I'm teaching my children is to not be afraid of accessing their feelings and emotions, of being responsible, of caring for their family. And these are things that I am hoping that my kids grab onto as morals and values. But I don't know that that defines a man in the broad sense, but it defines me.
You have children?
I have 2 kids,
Boys or girls?
a boy and a girl.
Really? And are you married?
I have a fiance, we're not married yet.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you're teaching your boys and girls to be emotional,
No,
your boy and your daughter to...
I don't think
What?
teaching someone to be emotional is the accurate way of saying it. I'm teaching them to have access to their feelings. Now feelings and emotions are different, right? I can have a emotion about seeing a movie, and I can go, oh, this movie is making me feel sad, and I think and I can go, well, that's fine. There isn't anything wrong with you watching something and making you feel something. But I'm not teaching my kids to be irrational. And what that means is you can have emotions, but you can't let those emotions govern your reality, right? So teaching my son to go, hey, listen, if you feel bad about something that someone said to you, that's fine. And it's okay to express that you feel bad. But you can't let that emotion dictate every action you're going to take from then on out. And so,
But if you're into emotions, how would you prevent your emotions from dictating things if you're into
well,
that?
that's a great question. It's about being responsible, right? So being human means, all right, I feel this way, but I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my actions and how I express. So, Joe and I work together a lot, and Joe and I, it's art, and art is, by the very sense of the word, emotional. There's emotions in art. Our job as artists is to have access to what we feel, right? And Joe can have a feeling that creates an emotion in him, and he can express that emotion. And I know that it's my job as his partner, as working with Joe, to go, all right, that's how my friend feels. He's expressing his emotion. But also, I know that I can't let that experience affect me to where I become irrational. Yeah. So there's space for emotion.
So do you tell Joe to cut it out?
Not in those words.
Like, cut out all that mess.
No.
Act like a man.
Well, we've learned how to accept that we're both
Man
we're both very passionate about what we believe in.
Right.
And so when we get into the creative writing room, we both have opinions, and we really we hash it out, which is, I think, a pretty amazing. I think it's pretty powerful what we do. The fact that we've dedicated our lives to navigating what's going on inside of us, in hopes that other people will identify with the experience.
So many people, men and women, do not have access to their emotions and their feelings, and you see it acting out in today's culture. You have people who are running into relationships that are toxic and unhealthy because they don't know how to access their emotions. You have people in power who are freaking out because all of a sudden they're feeling things and they don't know how to deal with it. So I think being in a place of, these are my feelings, these are my emotions, is fine. Being emotional often kind of correlates, I think, with being irrational. And so I don't think emotions are irrational. They may not be real. They may not be, you may have an emotion that's based on ignorance, or an emotion that's based on a feeling that's not actually happening. But I don't think the having of emotions is a negative thing. I think being able to experience it and being able to express it healthy is fine.
You said that gender is a construct?
Yeah.
What do you mean by construct?
Construct meaning that it is man-made, meaning that there's no scientific proof that it exists, except for the rehearsal of it in our society.
Yeah.
For
so
example,
it's not God-made, it's man-made?
Well, you're talking to an agnostic.
Right.
So I don't know that God made gender, right? Because
But he did. He made man and made woman from man. But let me ask you this.
yeah. But hold on, let's go to that. So if God made man and woman, right? Talking about a powerful, omnipotent being
Yes.
who created from his own image and likeness a man and then a woman, correct?
From the man.
From the man, from the rib, right? From that experience, was there a breakdown as to the ingredients of the male and female?
Yes.
There was.
Yes.
Is that in the text?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
So let me ask: is your father, Joshua? Is your father an emotional man?
My father is a man who definitely has access to his feelings, if that's what you're asking me.
Right. So does that mean yes, he is an emotional man?
Well, I still am not sure that we have the similar to the. I think when you think emotional, you think irrational, and so I'm not quite sure that we're on the same page as what emotions mean. So if you think my father's irrational, no. My father definitely has feelings and is sensitive when it comes to certain experiences, but I don't think my father's an emotional person.
Let me ask, have you seen the movie Inside Out?
No.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
So
like
let
it.
me ask you: is your father?
Because when that rocket went up, I just want to know if a tear came out of your eye. That's all I want to know.
Have you seen Bambi?
No.
You ever seen Bambi?
No.
Have you ever seen a cartoon movie before in your life?
Have I ever seen one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a cartoon movie you've seen.
Pop Out a Sailor Man.
Well, that's a TV cartoon, but how about like a movie?
I don't go
you've
to
never
movies to see
in your
cartoons.
entire life you've never
No.
seen. Well, you're missing a lot of art out there.
But I'm just not into
Or like
cartoons
Finding
like
Nemo,
that.
when the
But-
little tortoise falls off, and then you're worried that it's not going to make it back.
Do you have
Like,
kids?
You can't help
Yes.
it.
Have you
Like,
taken your kids to see a film that was animated?
No.
So you've not taken your children. A man
What about
has
Coco?
not taken his children to see a movie?
No. So let me ask, why is it that I'm like stunned listening to you guys right now about it's okay for men to be emotional. Growing up, I never thought I would see the day when I would hear men agreeing to become like a woman.
Well, look,
rather
again,
than to be
as a black man.
Let me ask this. Let me ask this.
Yeah.
Why is it that in society today there are people who are trying to destroy masculinity but not destroy women?
Well,
They're trying to turn men into women, but not women to
let's
men.
go to that question.
Why
because
is that?
It's a great question.
First of all, have you noticed that?
I think I understand what you're saying,
So
but
you have noticed?
I disagree with the way you're
But
phrasing
you
it.
notice this happening, right?
I notice what's happening is people are breaking down the construct. And so, you look at
But
slavery.
why are they turning men into girls?
Well, you look at slavery, and I don't know who they is, but you look at slavery.
The man hated feminists and weak men and
well, feminists
and the
are
media
just.
and stuff like that.
So look,
why are they turning?
let's go back
Why are they
to-
turning men into girls, and why are men accepting it? I would never want to be a girl.
Right. Well, you're missing out.
Why?
But
What am I missing? I mean, all that emotion and stuff is not good.
Well, women are awesome, but I also feel like
Awesome?
awesome.
In what way?
How are women
How
awesome?
are women awesome?
Yeah.
If you have to ask that
Oh.
question,
So tell
I don't
me.
know what else to tell you.
How are they awesome?
How are women awesome? I mean,
We can first of all talk about.
Let me
So
just,
so if we have a society of nothing but dudes, does that
Oh.
sound like a society you want to live in?
how are women awesome?
Well, that's the answer to your question.
That doesn't answer my question.
It does because
No.
if by nature.
Are you saying they are awesome simply because they're on Earth and they're women?
That's one
We'll
of the
just
ways.
start there,
that-
sure.
Yeah, like
Really?
the fact that they
That's all it
exist
takes
is
for a woman?
amazing. Yeah, a woman
Have
doesn't
you
have
ever
to,
seen? I'm not
A woman
gonna
doesn't
go
have
down
to
there.
do much
But you
to
didn't
be
tell me,
awesome.
yeah, how
just
is she
by
awesome?
well, by the fact that she gets to exist and express, just by that is an amazing thing. Like,
But I do think that there's
You're not-
something to
you're
be
not saying anything.
But I think there's something to be said for the difficulties that women have overcome. The same way, in my opinion, the African American community has overcome certain subjugation. I think it speaks to the strength of the human spirit. And I think in the end, we are 7 billion individuals, regardless of male or female. And when you put them under pressure, we know the old metaphor of you take a piece of coal and you put enough pressure on it, you have a diamond. I think that's very important.
Are you saying that women don't buckle under pressure?
I think women have had to overcome a lot.
Do they buckle under pressure?
No.
I
Yes,
think
they do.
people buckle.
No,
under
I
Yes,
pressure.
they do.
I think some people have difficulties.
Absolutely not true.
You don't think men buckle under pressure?
I
Weak
think
men do.
Weak
I
men
think-
Emotional men do.
I think
but
men-
not real men.
no. I think real
Real
men.
men
and you're
overcome the pressure. Weak men buckle under pressure like a woman would do.
No, but I think that's the same can be said for women, for strong women and weak women. And I think we all are overcoming our different
Do you
difficulties.
believe women are awesome as well?
Absolutely.
And what's awesome about them?
In my life has been radically improved by every woman I've ever had come into my life.
That's so sad.
How is that
why is
sad?
that sad?
And that's like just sad.
Okay, so my mother is an
What has
educator.
happened to manhood?
I mean,
My mother's an educator who has brought young people throughout over 30 years to travel overseas. She's changed people's lives just through teaching. She was my mom, so I learned about who I was through her experience. She endured so much so I could be where I am. I mean, look, the fact that I get to be in this city is because of my mom, right? So
not because of your father.
now,
because of both of them.
now, what?
Who do you worship more, your father or your
I
mother?
don't worship anything.
Not like you worship your mother.
I think I'm grateful for my mom, but worship to me feels like
Yeah, I mean,
over the
I don't
existence
worship
of
my
others.
mom. Like, if anybody worships his mom, it would be me, and I don't worship my mom. She was a fallible human being, but who I am is.
Are you just like your mother?
In certain ways I am, but in other ways I'm like my father.
Who was your mom?
Amazing.
Wait, who was your
Well,
mom? Who was your mom?
Katie Peterson.
What did she do for a living?
She was a housewife.
She was, and
Yeah.
were you around her often, or
Not a lot.
No.
He was-
No, I was raised by my grandmother.
Grandparents.
Okay, so your grandmother was
Yes.
around. What was she like?
She was a good, hard-working, decent woman.
Yeah.
But not awesome.
She wasn't awesome.
No
There was no
one-
awe about the work she did.
In those days, women were noble women.
Right.
And they
But nobility
understood-
has a certain awe to it,
They
right?
understood the order of life, and they understood the order of men and women. They wouldn't even want you to call them awesome
Yeah.
because they understood the order of life. And now you have these weak women and weak men
Right.
who they're into the awesome because they're trying to make up for something that was lost.
And what was lost?
Love, strength. The men
Right.
are weak, so the women are weak.
But
And
isn't-
now you got to pretend that they're awesome.
But isn't love an emotion?
No.
Love's not an emotion.
That fallen state love is the
Yeah.
one that when you have anger, you have anger,
I do have anger.
and you have anger. That's why you think that women are awesome.
Because I have anger?
Because you become like your mother, you're in a fallen state. So you feel and think like women.
So hold on. So when you're in a fallen state, you feel like a woman, and women are weak, and they are weak because why again?
Because the men are weak, their fathers are weak.
So-
The men
so
that-
we're
the men
living
that
in a
they
society
dated,
full of
listen
women-
to Joe's like, wow, I learned so much
Absolutely.
from the women they made.
But you didn't learn anything from your grandmother?
I did.
So you learned something.
Right, but I'm not into just learning from women the way Joe is.
But it sounds like you're sharing a similar experience to what he's sharing, which is
No.
you had a woman in your life who taught you things.
By example.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's still learning.
But she taught nobility. She didn't teach me to be a woman.
But she taught you how to be noble like a woman.
No, noble like a man.
So a
And the-
woman
and the
taught you how to
reason-
be noble like a man.
The reason that she
So
was
hold on,
noble
let's-
because she respected my grandfather. He was noble.
So the
And
woman
that
in the-
she got
So-
her.
so as long
she
as
got
the
her
woman-
life from him.
Okay, so as long as the woman knows her place,
I got it.
we're good. Is that?
What do you mean by her place?
Well, you keep talking about the.
She knew where she was as a woman. And,
Yeah.
Right.
But so you
Is there
learned.
something wrong with that?
Well, I'm just trying to figure it out. You learned how to be a
Is there
man.
something wrong with knowing your place as a woman?
Absolutely, because
think-
that place
I
is
think-
being redefined.
I think
You see
place
something
in
wrong with
that.
that?
I think place is also a very interesting word because when you say place, do you mean path or you mean like?
Give me a yes or no first. Do you think
Well, I can't give you a yes
there
or
is
no
something
answer to that
wrong with
question.
a woman knowing her place?
I think if she feels like that is her role in life and that makes her happy, I don't think there's a problem with
And
that.
you think there's a problem?
I mean, I think it's the woman's choice.
Yeah, whatever she decides her place
Amazing.
is.
Like-
Do you think men are awesome as well?
Yes, I
And-
think we're fallible human beings who are adjusting, and
Fallible meaning what?
we're redefining how the world exists. White males are not the only people in power, or shouldn't be,
Why not?
because it's a nepotistic form of power that 9 times out of 10 isn't gained through hardship and work.
But how are you going to decide that white men
I'm not.
should not be the only one in power?
That's not my-
Power is not something that someone gives you. Power is something that comes out of you, and no human being can decide
Oh, in this
who's going
country?
to be in power or not.
In this country, nepotism, and I've seen when I went away to college, and I could be very easily the poster child for affirmative action. I saw many legacy grad students who were accepted based on who their parents were. So
But blacks do that too. You can go to the average black college right now, And if your parents went there and graduated from there, you could get in.
Correct. And
based
I don't,
on the fact that your parents
correct.
went there. So
And
what's wrong with white people doing it?
I don't challenge legacies as a way, but I also want it to be exemplified when people try to attack affirmative action.